Alhamdulillah, sallallahu ala Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa safiyyuhu min khalqihi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. وعلى من سار على دربه بإحسان وإتقان إلى يوم الدين. It is of my pleasure, great favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept your invitation and to meet you in Hyderabad. First of all, to say Jazakumullahu khairan, Allah reward you and accept all your efforts. The way that you met me, let me confused where to start from. I can see that among us, grandchildren of the Sharifs, Allah protects you. When we want to talk about the unity of the Ummah, the first word come to the mind is the Khilafah. When we want to talk about the liberation of Al-Aqsa, the first term comes to mind is the Khilafah. When we want to unify the Ummah, to bring the Izzah back to it, we mention the Khilafah. This guided me to remind you with the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which He says subhanahu wa ta'ala, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you have to hold strongly with the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Quran and the Sunnah, the Islamic Sharia is the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah in Al-Hamoori, وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Don't and not to be disunified. And remember, once you were enemies, and He opened your hearts and guided you to obey Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and thus you became brothers in Islam. This is great favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A Muslim living in Palestine comes and he finds thousands of brothers for him in Islam. And if he goes to Indonesia, he will find other brothers of Islam. If he goes to Morocco, he will find other brothers. Algeria, other brothers. Syria, other brothers. This brotherhood that we have, nobody have by anywhere else. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is a great favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day and night that He may lead us and guide us to thank Him for this favor and for this benefits that we live in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا Muslimun, hold, all of you, hold the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very strong. In other words, strict to the Sharia, very strong, and not to be disunited. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remember when you were enemies. Now, we are separated. I don't want to add to your claims. Reality is always difficult, but we have to remind each other with this reality and to cooperate together to change this reality by the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our reality says that Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa أولى القبلتين وثالث الحرمين الشريفين, the first qibla of Muslims, is still under occupation. Bayt al-Maqdis, the words that the Prophet ﷺ was brought by Al-Isra, is still under occupation. And not just Al-Aqsa. Al-Iraq is also under occupation. Afghanistan is also under occupation. We have disasters occurring in Syria. We have revolutions in Yemen, Libya, Tunis, and others. We have many suffering all over the Muslim world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us and calls us to unite. At the same time, He tells us, remember, how were you and what brought you to be brothers. This is the key for the unity. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ united us and brought us to be brothers. We have to follow the same path. This says to every Muslim, rethink again, but using the Quran and the Sunnah. Rethink again, using the Quran and the Sunnah. Think about the reality that we have and understand the exact reality that we have and how can we change it. You all will realize that we were one Ummah ruled by the Quran and the Sunnah, the Islamic Sharia, from the far east Indonesia to the far west Morocco, when the Islamic Khilafah system was implemented. Where did this Khilafah system, political system come from? It came from the Prophet ﷺ. After establishing the first Islamic state in Al-Madinah Munawwara, the Prophet ﷺ strengthened the relationship between the Muhajirin and Ansar, telling them at that time, whether you are from Mecca or from Al-Madinah, you are all brothers in Islam. Whether you are from Palestine or from India, you are all brothers in Islam. Whether you are from Indonesia or from Morocco, you are all brothers in Islam. From there the unity started at the hands of the Prophet ﷺ. Then the Prophet ﷺ implemented Islam on those followers. What Islam did the Prophet ﷺ implement? He didn't implement secular Islam, American Islam, neutral Islam, modern Islam, civilian Islam, democratic Islam, none of these. What did the Prophet ﷺ implement on us there? After strengthening our brotherhood in Al-Madinah, the Prophet ﷺ implemented on us the Islamic system emanated from La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ based and built the state and the society at that time on one great base, intellectual base, which is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This base, on it, the Prophet ﷺ built the state and the society. And from this intellectual base and leadership base, which is the aqidah, the iman, the belief that we have, emanated all systems of life. We had social system, we had economic system, we had political system, we had military system, all emanated from our intellectual, our leadership base, which is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, our faith, our iman. At that time, the Prophet ﷺ made treaties with those neighboring Al-Madinah, the Islamic State at that time. Then strengthened the Ummah inside to be one Ummah, having the same thoughts, the same emotions, and implementing the same system. And this continued with the Prophet ﷺ inside Al-Madinah. Later on, after implementing Islam politically according to the Islamic Sharia, the Prophet ﷺ started to increase the ground of Al-Madinah, of the Islamic State. So the Prophet ﷺ told us that his message is not for Arabs. His message is not special for any human being, but it is for all mankind. So the Prophet ﷺ then, in the foreign policy of the Islamic State, he started sending messengers to Herakl, to Kisra, to Qaisar, to all leaders at that time, telling them, you have to be Muslims, otherwise you have to be ruled by the Islamic system, which will rescue you from the hell, and which will provide you with justice in this life, and you have to pay al-jizya. And the third choice was fighting those soldiers that prevent Islam to achieve to mankind. This is the way that the Prophet ﷺ united the Ummah. After being enemies, they became brothers in Islam. But since after that, after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was appointed as a Khalifa. And he implemented the same system. He didn't implement Islam just individual aspects, like what we have in all Arab and Islamic lands. He didn't implement Islam just in individual aspects, but Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu implemented Islam socially, economically, politically, and militarily. And when we come back to his history, we know and realize this in detail, and I know that you know this in detail. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَذَكَّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. We have to remind each other and to cooperate together to bring back our unity, inshallah, and to bring back the implementation of Islam according to the Quran and the Sunnah, inshallah. after Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar, Uthman, Ali, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they came and they ruled with the Islamic system. After the Rashidin, the Ummah came, the Abbasiyin, the Mamalik, and then finally the Uthmaniyin. They all continued what the Prophet ﷺ started in the Medina. They all continued the unity of the Ummah. They all protected the unity of the Ummah. And I will remind you with the hadith that says, the Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا بُرِعَ لِخَلِيفَتَيْنِ فَاقْتُلُوا الْآخَرَ مِنْهُمَا. If two khulafa, two leaders, two A'immah, two rulers are given bay'ah, pledge, to rule us with the Quran and the Sunnah, with the Islamic Sharia, kill the last one. Kill the last one. Why to kill the last one? To protect the Ummah, one Ummah. To protect the state, to be one state. It's forbidden for us to be isolated to many countries. Rule even with the Islamic Sharia is forbidden. To have the Islamic Sharia to be implemented, we have to be one unit, one society, one Ummah, one state, inshaAllah. This is the way that the Sahaba understood Islam, and they implemented it according to what the Prophet ﷺ educated them with. And the Tabi'een and the Tabi'een radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they followed the state path. In 1924, the colonists demolished the Khilafah system in Istanbul. And they destroyed the Khilafah state in Istanbul. And by that, they left us without leader, without Rabbani leader, without a leader that loves Allah and loves the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and implements the Quran and the Sunnah. From that time, they demolished the Khilafah system, and what stands from India, having at that time, we are all as Muslims are proud about it. Do you remember what happened at that time? In 1924, group of scholars of India particularly, they went to Mustafa Kemal that demolished the Khilafah system in Istanbul. They told him, by Allah, don't destroy the Khilafah state. By Allah, don't demolish the Khilafah system. By Allah, appoint yourself to be the Khalif, and we are giving you the pledge. But he refused. And some they say that he killed some and put some in jail. Allah accept them and bless them, inshallah. The colonists, after that, they divided our lands to Palestine, to Syria, to Lebanon, to Jordan, Algeria, Morocco, Libya, Tunis, Saudi Arabia, and the rest. Even India, to Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India. The way they acted to prevent our reunity. And to that, they appointed big people there to help them ruling the Ummah with other than the Sharia. If you want Sharia, you can have it just in the mosque. Out of the mosque, you have to follow the systems and the constitutions present all over the world. which is not based on the Quran, which is not based on the Sunnah, which is not based on the Islamic Sharia. This is what happened. Now, our role is presence. In the previous time, when al-Ashram wanted to damage and destroy the Kaaba, Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ, said, "Inna al-bayti Rabbun yahmih." In al-bayti Rabbun yahmih, which means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect the light of him, the Kaaba. But after the Bi'tha message of the Prophet ﷺ, all the Ummah received the responsibility of protection of this deen, and the protection of the Kaaba, and the protection of the Medina, and the protection of Al-Aqsa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. We made you the just Ummah and Ummah of the just, to be witness of people, and the Prophet ﷺ to be witness of you. How to achieve that? First, by achieving the unity among us, then by conveying this message, which is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, the comprehensive ideology of life, which is not just deen, it is not just regulating our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via the ibadat, but it is comprehensive deen, comprehensive ideology for life. It has comprehensive social, economic and ruling system. It is our duty today as followers of the Prophet ﷺ to re-achieve the unity of the Ummah and to carry this message, this khair, this adl to all mankind. To understand well how to do, we have to study and re-study how the Prophet ﷺ acted even before starting in the Medina. What was before the Islamic society and the Islamic State. We have to come back and to ensure that we are understanding that the Prophet ﷺ started with educating people who believe in his message and in his deen. Those who said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, the Prophet ﷺ educated them well in a way, not just to receive information, but by to receive concepts of life, to understand what the Quran says and the Sunnah says, to believe in, to implement, and to convey to others. This is the way that the Prophet ﷺ gave it to us. To understand, to believe, to implement, then convey to others. After education, he built ﷺ Islamic personalities. What is meant by Islamic personalities? Distinctive Islamic personality, distinctive Muslim, distinctive Quran walking on the ground, distinctive Islam walking on the ground. And we could see that in Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, in Umar radiallahu anhu, in Uthman radiallahu anhu, in Ali radiallahu anhu, and other Sahaba. After building this personality, their spirituality to be according to the Sharia, they love what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, and they hate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates. And in addition to that, the building of the mentality, how to think according to Islam, how to act according to Islam. Every aspect of your life should be according to Islam. After having this building of the Islamic personalities with spirituality and mentality, The Prophet ﷺ went to the society with those Sahaba and he started to attack what is kufr peacefully and actually, showing what is wrong and what is right, joining the good and forbid the false, carrying out al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahy 'anil munkar in every aspect of life. First of all, in their aqidah, the Prophet ﷺ attacked the aqidah by the Quran, saying to them, إِنَّكُمْ وَمَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ حَصَبُ جَهَنَّمَ. You and those that you are worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be in the hell. And he attacked the social aspects of their life, saying the ayah, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. You have a custom of burying your daughters. The Prophet ﷺ told them, this daughter will be accounted in the hereafter for what reason she was killed and who killed her, and he will be accounted for this killing. Not just education, in other action to education, interaction with the Ummah and the society, to convey this khayr, this adl to the others, to rescue them from the kufr, the iman, to rescue them from the darkness to light, to rescue them from the oppression to the justice of Islam. In addition to that, the Prophet ﷺ reminded them with the ayat that show the economic bad aspects that they have, by saying the ayah, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ, attacking the way that they are dealing with economics, and the way that anybody playing in the balance, he will be accounted in the hereafter and he will be punished. More than that, the Prophet ﷺ attacked the political leadership that are not ruling according to justice, by saying, وَلَا نُطِعَ كُلَّ حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ هَمَّازٍ مَشَّاءٍ بِنَمِيمٍ مَنَّاعٍ لِلْخَيْرِ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ عُتُلٍّ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ زَنِيمٍ. 8 bad adjectives the Prophet ﷺ described the leaders of Quraysh at that time, Al-Walid ibn Mughira and Al-Aqsa ibn Shuraik, saying to the Ummah, don't obey those political unjust leaders. And then to give the confidence to the Prophet ﷺ, to the leader and to the political leadership that convey and implement and want and learn to implement the Islamic Sharia. This is the way that the Prophet ﷺ changed the non-Islamic society, the non-Islamic state, and after that the Prophet ﷺ went to leaders and people of power seeking for victory, seeking for power. Do we have time? Do we have time? Just 2 minutes. Okay. The Prophet ﷺ asked and called for victory of his deen from people of power, peacefully and intellectually at that time. And this time we have to follow the same path, intellectually and peacefully, changing the reality that we have, changing the society that we have lived in all over the Islamic world. The Prophet ﷺ went to people of God seeking for victory, saying to them, آمنوا بي وامنعوني, آمنوا بي وانصروني. Believe in what I convey to you and protect me and give me victory. They refused. in Quraysh. He went to Ta'if. They refused. He went to Bani Shayban. They refused to Bani Amr, Bani Kinda, Bani Hanifa. He continued seeking the power because Islam without power will be lost. And the power should be achieved in the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ the same way. Education, interaction, and receiving the power from people of power in any of the Islamic areas. Finally, the Prophet ﷺ, after being unable to receive the victory with those tribes and armies, he met Al-Khazraj radiallahu ta'ala anhum, came at that time from Al-Madinah. He met them, he offered them Islam, they accepted Islam, and they took the honor at that time of supporting and giving the victory of the deen. And on their hands, the first Islamic state was established. And the Prophet, you know the rest of the story. Now we have to follow the same path of the Prophet, and we are seeking those people of power that will gain the honor another time of giving victory to the Ummah, to allow Spain to be Khilafah state according to the Brotherhood, the second Khilafah state according to the Prophethood, inshaAllah ta'ala. We hope that it will be very soon and very near, very close, inshaAllah ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use us in the re-establishment of Islamic life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use us in the re-establishment, the arriving process of this deen, inshaAllah ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable the announcement of the Khilafah state for all Muslims all over the Islamic world to be very soon and very close. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us, support us, and protect Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and support Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وبارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خيرا.